Welcome back to the channel. My name is Steven. I own 52 units of real estate. I'm a pharmacist and I help coach people to buy their first multifamily deal. So I was talking a lot recently about the 4% rule and how I would use that 4% rule if I wanted to retire in the not too distant future. So for those who've been following my channel, I built up a $6.6 million net worth predominantly through real estate. 80% of my net worth is real estate. The other 20% is roughly stocks, which includes 401k, brokerage accounts, index funds, life insurance, IRAs. So I have stuff that are kind of trapped for future retirement and some that are more liquid. So, despite my net worth, if you were to take my $6 million net worth, let's just make it easy math here, or let's say $7 million net worth. Let's round me up a little bit. And I would take 4% of that. That's $280,000 that I essentially could live off of for the rest of my life and never touch my principal nest egg of $7 million. So the point of the 4% rule is that you can live off that. So basically, I have $280K to live off of, which is was at $22,000 a month. And honestly, $22,000 a month is enough for me to live my life. That's my goal, was $20K a month in passive income that I can safely use to retire. So, if you look at my numbers and my net worth, then yes, I could retire off the 4% rule. But my portfolio has two downsides to that 4% rule. So the first downside is that I'm very asset rich and I'm cash poor. So my real estate, yes, it does cash flow probably on average maybe $6,000 to $10,000 a month of positive cash flow, and real estate income is highly variable. So some months, if I have a major expense, my cash flow is a little bit lower, 6,000. If my expense is low that month, my cash flow is higher at $10,000 a month. And if I have a roof to repair, a major plumbing expense, reality is the cash flow, it's just used to cover those large capex expenses in the future. So in reality, cash flow from real estate, it's hard to live off that today. It's more of to self-sustain the real estate portfolio. And this is based on my experience as somebody who's owned apartments since 2021, and I owned real estate since 2017. And keep in mind, I own single family homes in California, which is high appreciation, low cash flow markets. I built up a lot of market appreciation over time during COVID when rates were lower. Chalk it up to luck, to be honest. I bought in 2017, didn't know it would skyrocket that much to present day. So, for example, my first property I bought in 2017, I bought for $800, and now it's worth $1.4 million. It went up $600,000. And honestly, I did absolutely nothing besides rent it out to the same tenant that I still have to this day. And over time, every 2 years, I just raised the rents by about $200. That's all I did, really. Nothing special besides me just buying, taking action, and holding on to the asset to this day, right? That's all I really did. And I know it sounds easy, and to me, it was easy because that's all I really did. But the hard part was having the discipline to save up the down payment, having the discipline to house hack it, having the discipline to increase my income, lower my expenses, and then having the discipline to hold on to this asset for this long, because it takes a little bit of work to get there. But any case, my portfolio is very asset heavy. So the 4% rule portfolio is essentially assuming that your entire portfolio is dumped into the S&P 500 stocks or the total US stock market, for example, and that averages, let's call it 7% return annually. So if you live off 4% a year, which is less, theoretically, you could never touch your principal and it can still grow and you can still live and retire. So for me, like I said, a lot of my net worth is trapped in real estate. So if I want to access that equity, and as I mentioned earlier, cash flow is not as reliable, if I'm being honest. So I have to sell my real estate, pay capital gains tax, pay depreciation for capture, and then whatever's left over, dump that into index funds. My 401k, I basically can't touch my 401k. It's not liquid until I am at least 60 plus. So if I want to retire at 35 or 40, it's not relevant. So what is accessible is my brokerage account, my life insurance, which I max fund, that's accessible. And my 401k, all I could really do is if I take it out of the 401k, I have to pay a 10% penalty, I believe, plus pay my ordinary income tax rate, which I could do if I'm not working anymore. And maybe I want to start pulling out money from my 401k, pay 10% penalty, and then pay income on it, and just do that slowly over time. Or I could do a Roth conversion where I'm converting it from traditional over to Roth. But once again, I'm paying not the penalty, but I'm paying my ordinary income tax rate. But if my income is low, I'm arbitraging my tax rate. Because right now, I'm taxed at the highest bracket. And if I were to not work, not have a W 2 income, I could roll over from a traditional to a Roth, be in a lower tax bracket because I'm not bringing any W 2 income. So that's another thing I thought about. But, anyways, the 401k, the IRA, and real estate, it's I cannot access or use those numbers in the 4% calculation because if my properties appreciate by 7% a year, I can't withdraw 4% of the property unless I get like a HELOC or something on it. So for me to truly live by the 4% rule, this is what I would do. So let's just call it $7 million net worth. I have to sell one of my single family homes, probably the first one that I bought, which has about $800,000 equity in there between my down payment, between market appreciation, and between principal paydown. So I would actually pay the capital gains tax on it. I'd pay depreciation recapture on it. And whatever is left over, I would probably take to pay off my primary residence. So for me, I would want to live off of a 4% portfolio with a paid off mortgage because my mortgage is my largest expense. My mortgage is $5,500 a month. And if I could wipe that out, I'm happy. I can more comfortably live off that 4% rule. And because I've built up enough assets, I can do this for better or for worse. So I have to sell one single family home to use that money to pay off my primary residence. So that would be like step number one for me to live out the 4% rule. After that, I would have to probably sell all my apartments and all that. So I sold all my real estate. Let's just say it's worth $6 million in real estate, and I got $1 million of stocks, which is 401k, IRA, index funds, life insurance, cash, maybe some cars or whatever. So I'd sell all my real estate. Let's say it's worth $6 million after depreciation recapture, after a long-term capital gains tax, which is about, I think, 15 or 20% at most. Let's just say, for sake of math, I would net 6 million real estate. Let's say I get 5 million back net after taxes and depreciation recapture. So I'd have a $6 million liquid. I would dump all that 5 million of real estate into index funds. So out of my 1 million, currently, I think half is 401k, half is brokerage. So let's just say, for sake of this example, the 1 million that I currently have, sorry, I'm rambling all over the place, but let's just say I had $7 million net worth total, sold my 6 million from real estate, 1 million from stocks, and let's just make that 1 million all 401k for easy math. The 6 million I sold after taxes, after depreciation recapture, I have $5 million net. So I have 1 million in 401k, $5 million in now index funds, brokerage accounts. So essentially, my 4% rule will be off $5 million essentially, because I cannot touch take that back. So I have $5 million after selling it. I have to use $1 million to pay off my current house. I have $4 million. So 1 million goes to pay off my house. 1 million is trapped in 401ks, and I have 4 million that's really liquid. So I live off the 4% rule of 4 million, which is 160k. So you divide that by 12. What's that? That's about, can't do math right now, but let's just call it 16k, I believe. It's about maybe 16k, or let's make it 15k for easy math. So I had 15k a month that I would live off of. And after taxes, so if I'm taking money out of my index funds, the depreciation, long-term capital gains tax, once again, is about 15-20%. So out of that 15k, maybe let's just say I'm actually netting 12k for simplicity. So out of 12k, now I'm gonna look at my expenses. So my house, my property tax, my insurance, my HOA, my utilities is about $2,000 a month. Let's just call it insurance, Health insurance, if I'm not working W-2, and car insurance is going to be about $2,000 a month. So that's $4,000 right there. So if I have $12,000 and I have $4,000 in housing expense, healthcare expense, and car insurance expense, that's $8,000 to have the rest to live off of, which is to take care of food, travel, other expenses. If I have kids, that's $8,000 a month to live off of. And I thought about it, that's actually pretty doable. So once again, to kind of summarize, I'm at a $7 million net worth. 6 million is real estate. 1 million is, let's just call it 401k. And I will sell my whole portfolio of real estate of 6 million. After taxes, after depreciation recapture, I have $5 million net. So now I have $5 million liquid plus $1 million in 401k. Out of that $5 million liquid, the first thing I would do is take $1 million, pay off this house that I'm living in, wipe out that loan. And I have $4 million, which I dump in the total US stock market. And I would withdraw from that 4 million 4% a year, which is about 160k. Divide that by 12, that's roughly 15k a month. And after I pay my taxes on it, and remember, the taxes on investment is less. It's either, I think, 0%, and then 10%, and then 20%, something like that. The max is 20%. Versus ordinary income tax, you can pay up to 50% of ordinary income tax. So now if I'm taking home, let's just call it 160, divide that by 12, I'm taking home 15k a month. I'm only paying at most 20% tax on it. It's a sliding scale up, right? It goes 10% and then 20%. So I'm going to take home about 12k a month. And my fixed expense is going to be my property tax, my insurance, my HOA, my utilities, my health insurance, my car insurance. That's $4,000. I have $8,000 for food, travel, activities, whatever. I can live off of that. So that's one route I thought of if I just want to not do real estate anymore. But for me, I still want to own real estate. And I like owning real estate long term because it's going to help me build my net worth faster, I believe. So that's an extreme example. If I were to go to a more middle of the ground example, I think I still have to sell some real estate, if I'm being honest. I'm probably going to have to sell one single family home to pay off my mortgage. So I'd wipe that off. I'd probably sell another single family home and just have that money liquid. And I could do one or two things with that. If I sell another single family home, I could use that to pay off my 2 apartment complexes, because each of my 2 apartment complexes have a loan of $350 each. So that's $700,000 total. So I could sell another single family home. And now, so I sell 2 single family homes. I have a paid off primary and 2 paid off apartments. So now I own 50 units where the majority of it is owned free and clear. My 20 unit would be free and clear. My 26 unit would be free and clear. My primary residence would be free and clear. I would just have a loan on the house I have in Orange County, the house I have in Huntsville, Alabama, and the house that I own in Milpitas. So if I look at that, so just by having no loan, this is how much my cash flow will increase. So my mortgage wiped out. I would say $5,500 a month because I don't pay that mortgage anymore. My loan on my 26 unit is $2,000 a month. So I would increase my cash flow by $2,000 a month on that property. My loan on my 20 unit is $2,600 a month. So I would save about $4,500 a month on my mortgages, plus $5,500 a month on my mortgage for my primary. So that's about $10,000 a month in increased cash flow because I have no mortgage and I have no loan. So if my cash flow now is, let's just say, $6,000 to $10,000, well, if I were to sell 2 properties, my cash flow would increase by 10K. So I would essentially, basically make 20K a month now, right? I might get it, not having a mortgage is not increasing my cash flow, but I'm not allocating money towards it anymore. So that would increase my monthly cash position by about to 20K a month. So that's kind of the middle ground where I can have both. And I can still get the cash flow from the real estate to live with that cash flow from the real estate. So that's probably the most realistic option for me. It's not the true 4% rule. So once again, the true 4% rule is I sell everything and literally take all my money, pay off my house, and then dump the rest into index funds. That's the most passive route if I want nothing to do with real estate again. The middle ground is I sell 2 high equity single family homes, pay off my primary residence, no more mortgage. pay off my 2 apartments, increase that cash flow by $5,000 a month. So I'm saving $5,000 on my mortgage by not having it anymore, and I'm increasing my cash flow by $5,000. So that'll increase my position overall by $10,000. And at that point, now I'm going to be cash flowing $10,000 to $15,000 a month and have no primary resident or have no mortgage. So with $15K a month in cash flow, once again, maybe $4,000 goes to my property tax insurance HOA and my health insurance, and I still have about $11,000 to spend on what I want. But keep in mind, real estate income is more variable. So, and then I would liquidate my other single family homes and have that and dump that into index funds. So it's kind of like a hybrid model for me. So I'm not going to be a true 4%. It's going to be a combination of a paid off house, some income from real estate, and some income from index funds and stocks. And let's be honest here, when I retire from my W-2, I'm still going to be working in a different capacity. I'm probably still going to be creating content. I'm going to still do coaching. I'm still going to do mentorships. So I'm still going to have streams of income in. I might even make more streams of income once I leave my W-2, because that's how it is for some reason. But that's just kind of the thought process that I've had after talking to some friends recently about the 4% rule. So hopefully you found value from this video. Sorry it's a little bit long in a rant, but I just wanted to show what a true 4% rule is and what my plan for financial freedom would be, which is kind of middle ground, not the true sell everything, unless I'm just really that sick of real estate. But I'm still having that real estate. And like I said, I may get sick of real estate. And even after I do the hybrid, I'll just be like, forget this. I just want to sell it all and be done with it. So, but that's the option that I have because I've invested well in real estate since 2017. So real estate really gives you options. Like I said, you just have to do it for at least 10 to 15 years. And at that point, you can decide, do I want to continue or do I want to just sell it and just get the appreciation and then move on? So anyways, hopefully you found value. Let me know what questions you have. Please like, comment, subscribe. Hope to see you next one. And if you want to buy multifamily real estate with some guidance and mentorship, I just helped a student close on an 8-unit apartment complex in Texas. Please check out the link down below and send me an email. Thank you so much. Hope to see you in the next one.